Hi, thank you for joining me today, and in today's video I am documenting a photo from a trip to Titanic Museum in Belfast back in 2016. This was a picture of my late father-in-law with my husband and two children, so a very special photo for us. I'm going to be using simple vintage essentials from Simple Stories. I thought the colours went really nicely with this sign of the Titanic. It's cut out of metal outside the museum, and I just thought the colours would work really well. So first of all, I wanted to create a mixed media background. So I'm just going in with some Distress Oxides and my brayer to create a background for the photo and the papers that I'm using. So first of all, I used tea dye, and then I went over with scattered straw, and I started by watering down the ink, but in actual fact when I went in with the scattered straw I decided to just go straight in without watering it down. So now I'm going in with tea dye again, and this lovely stencil from All and Create. It's one that I've had my eye on for a little while and decided that I would treat myself finally. So as per usual with my mixed media, a lot of this does get covered, but I enjoy the process, and like my friend Helen said, she thinks sometimes she does mixed media just to know that it's there underneath. Because you just do it and then cover so much up, it's crazy. So I think I need to learn a lesson and bring it out even further than I think I need to, so that it does peek out a little bit more from the photo. But no matter, the end result looks lovely, so that's all that matters really, isn't it? So just using my little blending brush to go through this stencil just to get into all the nooks and crannies, because there's quite small parts that are cut out from this, so these mini blending brushes that we sell at Hey Little Magpie work really nicely for that sort of thing. So I used half the stencil in the top right hand corner and half the stencil in the bottom left, and now I'm coming in with this paper, as I say, from the Simple Vintage Essentials collection from Simple Stories. I love this paper, and I know that I'm going to use it all just as tape measures, so just cutting a couple of the tape measures or rulers out of that so that I can use those as strips behind the photo. So just trimming those down, and then I'm going to go into the ephemera pack to pull some bits out to use as mats behind that photo too. I really like this one with the clipboard on it, but in the end it doesn't actually make the cut. And this ruler, you can see I was about to tear the edge, and then I decided that I wanted it to be cut flat. I do distress the edges when I stick this down, but I didn't want a torn edge on that one. So just layering these up, trying to work out exactly where I'm going to go with this. So just having a little play at the moment to see where it goes. And I realise that a lot of these pieces are very, very brown. So I do actually bring in a paper to put behind that photo, which is black and white, just to break up the brown a little bit. So just pulling out some of these elements and layering them up. And it comes together very quickly at this point. These pieces are absolutely perfect for layering and matting. I think about using that piece of ruler, but it doesn't quite work for me. I feel like no matter which way around I put it, it's the wrong way around. It's upside down, so I give up on that piece and then bring this. It's like a spiral book, and I think that works nicely. Now I've cut the bottom piece off because it would just be hidden behind the photo, so I'll save that for another day. And then this is the paper I was talking about. It's like a charcoal black with white or cream numbers on, and it just breaks up that brown a little bit there. So just creating a small mat with that, and then when I get that down and I'm going to distress the edges of the paper, I look at the reverse of that paper, and it's almost like a world map, but it's a very pale cream antique linen type colour, and so I use a piece of that as well to mat this black onto. Again, it's just breaking up that brown and just bringing in a slightly different colour palette and softening everything up. So there's the black layer, and then this is the cream that I was talking about. So just adding a layer of that behind. And once again, I shall distress the edges with that Tim Holtz edge distresser that I use all the time. So gluing the photo down to the first mat first of all, and then I can distress this and work out exactly where it's going to go. It's slightly shorter than the width of the photo, so it's just acting as a layer rather than a full-on mat behind it. So almost there with the distressing. I didn't want to go too heavy-handed. I just wanted to rough it up a little bit. And that's that stuck down. And then I can start working on these layers behind. So I decided to start gluing everything down to the photo. and then I can add a little bit more mixed media before this mat gets stuck down. So of course I stick that and then realise that I wanted to distress the edges. Just struggling to keep it in place while I do that. This is again just a piece that I'd torn off when I created a previous layout. That's why I always keep the bits and pieces that I tear off, because they come in handy to add these little layers behind the photo. Now this piece, I'm not going to distress the wire coils. I should just bend those up a little bit with my fingers and add that down there. And then this last piece, I decided to go quite a bit higher with it in the end to show those numbers across the top. And then that can act as my journaling spot as well. So just once again, distressing those edges ever so slightly. And this is where you'll see I pull it up quite a little bit more than it was originally. So I'm liking the shape of that. I just need to add these rulers now. And where I originally thought they were going to act like a shelf underneath the photo, they work better behind the photo like that. So just using my fingernail to rough these up. Sometimes these thinner pieces can be harder to distress with the tool, and when it's just the ends that you need to do, it's just as quick to use your fingernails. So that's the first piece on, and then I can add the second piece after. And I like how that's covered up the words as well. I wasn't overly keen on the words on these rulers. I don't know, I'm one of those scrappers where things have to make sense in a way. I struggle using flowers when I haven't got flowers on a layout. Or so I guess I'm more of a literal scrapper. I try and move away from that, but it comes back to haunt me. So covering up those words work nicely anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. So now I've pulled out a couple of the darkroom door stamps. I just wanted to add a little bit more texture behind the photo. I felt like it was very yellow and orange. So first of all, this circle one. And I'm using the Lost Shadow from Tim Holtz. And it's a very subtle grey, but it does just add something to that background. So that's, I think it's called Circle Dot. I can't remember what that one's called, but they're on the Hey Little Magpie website. And then coming in with this smaller dot now across the bottom, and it's at this point I realise I definitely need a darker colour, so I'm bringing in the black soot, and I'm just going to be brave and add a little bit of that. This is just going to peek out from behind the photo. It's not going to be an obvious layer of stamping. So I put it down. I think, oh gosh, what have I done? But look, it's almost all covered up now. So I'm just adding little bits around the edges, and then I want to add a bit more to the bottom because I don't like that it's a straight line. So I just, and I'm not using a block, I'm just rubbing the edges across really of where I want it to go. So now that's done, I decide that I want to bring a little bit more black in different shapes. So I'm going to use first of all I brayer a little bit more across the top here because I feel like I've lost all that yellow and it was a very solid brown where the stenciling was. So just brayering a little bit more of that scattered straw across the top. And then I'm going to come in with the lid of my pen to add some more circles. So again with that Lost Shadow, and you can see I'm just dipping it in the ink and then just turning it ever so slightly on the paper to make sure that I get a full circle. And I really love this technique. You can use any lids that you've got lying around, anything circular. I use it with wet paint, with inks, anything. And it's almost like having your own personal stamp. So now those are down, I'm going to stick this mat down, and then I can see where I want to go from there. And you can see those little bits of black just peeking out. It's not too obvious, but they really add something there. So I'm going to use these foam stickers for my title, and I've also got another one of those wax seals. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know I'm a little bit obsessed with these at the moment. This one just says hello, and it's one that I've created previously in like a navy blue, so it works beautifully with these photos. Ross and Amelia have both got blue on in the photo, and Len, in fact, his trousers and shirt of blue. So I'm using the title Adventure because it was a little adventure down to the museum there. And then this lovely staff in the ephemera pack as well. And I love how this is all coming together. And you can start to see there's a slight lean towards a diagonal line from bottom left to top right. I just wanted to add a little bit more mixed media behind the photo. So I've come in with these rub-ons that are in the Simple Vintage essentials from Simple Stories, and I've just cut little slivers off of this alphabet one to put half on the left there and then half on the right above that stamped area of circles that I'd done with the black soot. So just rubbing that on, and it just, again, it's just adding little layers, subtle additions. So now into the sticker book, and I just found a sticker that says "Remember this exact moment," and I thought that was a really nice subtitle for underneath that adventure piece. And then one of these resin dots that we sell at Hey Little Magpie in orange. And I felt I wanted to extend that diagonal line along here, so I'm using my black gel pen again to create some crosses at the bottom. And then when I've added those crosses, I decided to go to the top right-hand corner. I didn't want to add more crosses. I didn't want it to be too uniform. So I'm going to add some circles with dots in the middle, just doodles, and then mix in really nicely with those circles that I created with my pen lid. So sometimes, just rather than pulling out a stamp, just adding a little bit of doodling really does make such a difference to a layout. So you can see there, I'm just building up and standing back and checking how I like it before I add too much. So that's that sorted. Now I'm looking for another word to add at the top here, and I find this word "wander," which I thought works nice. And now pulling out my tab punch to add a tab at the top there in the black paper so that I can add my date. So just peeling up that word that I've just added there and then putting the tab up there. And then I shall date stamp onto some white card and cut that out and put it on the tab. So I just find another piece of ephemera there that I want to add at the top, just to extend that line again, that diagonal line that I was talking about. And I really think that adds something at the top. It's bringing in that black and white again, or black and cream. So I'm much happier with that. So here's that piece of paper that I was talking about for my roller date. And it was the 13th of August 2016. I still can't believe that was 7 years ago. It feels like yesterday. So just gluing that down onto that tab. Just wondering whether to put it to the right, but then I remember I want to have my journaling up there, so I add that to the tab and then the journaling. And it just says, "Our first visit to the Titanic Museum, Belfast, with Grandad." So just the last few touches now. I'm coming in first of all with my Nouveau Crystal Drops in gold, and then once I've gone in with the gold, I shall go in with the black as well, just again to extend that diagonal line and add a few more bits around the page. And that's the layout done. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoyed creating it, and I shall see you again very soon. Thanks so much. Bye.